Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza and welcome to a live feed episode of Put It Together podcast. We are here at the Beit T'Shuvah. It's a benefit show tonight. It's called The Funny Thing Happened on My Way to Rehab. For those of you that have been following me for a while know that I went through rehab, so I am about to hit 12 years clean and sober. So I'm really excited that Cameron Weir was invited me to come over. If you guys remember Cameron Weir, he was on the Put It Together podcast. He just did his show. So he invited me to come and do a little behind the scenes green room interview. And our first guest here today, the brave one who's over it up, Ericson? Yeah. Kirk, hi, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Oh, should I hold this? Okay, cool.
You can hold it. You can hold
I
it.
like your 70s game show style microphone. You get that comment a lot?
Considering that I was born in 1970.
Oh, yeah?
That makes sense.
No, I guess it does. Does this get a good sound?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. My voice carries, so I always give it to my guests.
Okay. No, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Actually, we met walking in the door. We were both waiting for Cameron.
Yeah, no, we both got here early. I guess you're an early type of person, too?
Tell us. Yes, I'd rather wait on people than have people wait on me.
I've actually realized, I learned, I was reading off of like a socialized, it was a pickup artist's book or something like that. He was talking about like a good way to get like, good at going to parties is actually get there early, because a lot of people think if you get there early you're like all alone,
right,
and you're like a loser because you're showing up before everyone else is and you want to arrive late. But the reality is if you show up early, you're the first point of contact for most people, so by the time the party actually starts you already know everybody.
Right. Yeah,
that's not why I do it. It just makes me feel better about the fact that I'm an early bird.
I just get excited when people invite me to parties. That's always
really? I don't know, actually. I kind of dread it.
So tell us, how did you start in comedy?
I actually started in comedy in the exact opposite way a lot of people go through comedy. I started a podcast first and then started doing stand-up comedy afterwards.
Awesome.
It was because of the podcast I started doing stand-up.
Wow, we have a similar story.
Oh, you started this podcast and now you decided to start doing that? Okay, well, I wasn't addicted to anything. I didn't go through rehab, so, but I guess I was. I was addicted to attention. So,
which podcasting and stand-up is the perfect blend.
Yes, exactly. So,
how long have you been in stand-up?
2+ years.
Awesome. And where have you been? Local?
I've performed in Los Angeles, San Diego. I performed in Arizona. I'm right now currently like touring around the country. I was just in Philadelphia, New York, Delaware. I did a show in Lansing, a show in St. Louis. I'm heading to Michigan later this year in April. Okay. I'm doing the Paul Bunyan Festival, so there's a lot of stuff.
So that's your next stop from here?
Well, after here, I'm going to be in Arizona for the month of, what's after this? Yeah, March. I keep forgetting if it's January or February. It's all the same thing to me at this point.
It happens every year, February.
They feel like they do get shorter the months, too. Like, I feel like I'm just getting accommodated to January 2019, and that's already near the end of February.
Yeah, and this one only has 28, so it does seem a little...
Yeah, I know. I keep telling people, like, I'm going to be here till the 31st, and they're like, what are you talking about?
You want to tell folks where you're going to be during March?
Arizona. You can go to my site, justericson.com, and find out where exactly. I'll be at Tempe Improv. I'll be at a few bar shows. I'm going to be in the Orpheum in Flagstaff one of those days, too. I don't remember the exact dates off the top of my head.
So we'll put the websites later on the page. So go check out either my personal page, Daniel G. Garza, or Put Together Podcast for information on Ericson. What brought you, other than being invited, what brought you out here tonight?
Well, as a comic, you love any opportunity to do stage time, but also the fact that it's a benefit convent. And I guess she wants me to tell everybody because she's right now pointing at herself. My friend Maxi was like, "Yo, do you want to do a show with me?" Yeah, Maxi, why don't you come over here? No, here.
What's up?
Why don't you sit on my lap? Just sit on my lap, and we'll do this together.
We're moving that fast.
Maxi is
I didn't know we were moving at all.
Comedians that's going to be performing tonight.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and obviously you guys know each other.
Yeah. No, we do. I mean, kind of, yeah. She was on my podcast, too.
Oh, is she? Awesome.
Yeah. She doesn't have a podcast, so...
There's a podcast slut. I
Are
know
you?
everyone else's.
I've got about 250 episodes for you to listen to.
Oh, wow.
250 episodes?
But that's exciting.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I've been around for 7 years.
Shit.
So, yeah.
What got you started on the podcast?
My audience knows, but what started me was my show's called Put It Together.
Okay.
And it's all about how people put their lives together. Ooh. Or how you're trying to. At the time when I started, I was 15 years HIV positive, clean and sober, dealing with anxiety and depression and panic attacks. So I wanted to find a way to put it all together to make other people understand what my life was like. So I brought in people from different walks of life to tell me how they put their lives together.
That's great.
And now I've graduated to like 200 plus episodes, which is really cool.
Congratulations.
And,
That's really great.
I get to do stuff like this, come and do live episodes.
And you probably meet some really cool people.
I meet some of the most interesting people because everybody has a put it together story. Like right now, like just,
I'm in the process of putting it together.
what is your put it together story?
I'm right now in the middle of it.
the
Like
middle of
I'm
it?
trying to like get myself to like a point where I can financially take care of myself and do what I love and hopefully eventually have a family.
That's always, how old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 32.
Okay, you're still kind of young.
So, yeah, that's exactly what I am. Kind of young.
Kinda young,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm no longer young.
No,
That's already
once-
losing 1 point.
Once you pass the 30 bucks.
Yeah, you're no longer young. So
I'm 48.
how old are you now?
The lady doesn't
Doesn't
tell.
Did you have a birthday
Take 'em open
recently?
and count the
Yeah.
rings.
Yeah.
I'm in my 20s.
Well, I'm 48, so let me tell you, it took me.
You're 48?
You're 48? Fuck you.
God, man.
Look at your
Thank you.
face.
That's what a lot of people say. to me.
Beautiful.
Black don't crack, but brown don't go down.
Tacos.
It's tacos?
The truth.
Every
to
night,
long
I
life
put a
is
tortilla
good.
on.
Never expect that.
And a lot of meat in your face.
I was thinking like a sheet mask of corn tortilla.
A lot of stress, a lot of drinking. And,
Keeps you young.
And it'll keep you young. Yes.
Wow.
Let's go.
Well, I've got the stress down
Yeah.
pat,
I'm
so
pickled.
maybe that's why I look so young.
That's why you look
You're
young.
pickled in stress.
What about you? What got you into comedy and how?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Thought we were supposed to meet Kurt over there. All the comics are having Congress right now. I'm every single day trying to, I guess.
What got you started in comedy? What do you
I
ask?
know.
Oh, okay.
I'm making a circle.
Sorry.
I'm making a theme, an arc. Fuck you. What got me into comedy? The short, stupid answer is someone told me they thought I'd be good at it, and I was like, well, I'm not getting cast in acting roles, so sure. But I guess like growing up, I was kind of a weird kid and not funny, but like in my house, I was the funny one. So I don't know. It's like an identity now.
what was for both of you? What was your first on-stage experience like?
I wore cornrows and talked to a 99% black audience about how I didn't think cultural appropriation was a really big deal.
Were you wearing the cornrows to fit in?
I
Or was that
trying
just a
to make
happenstance?
point.
You were trying to make a point? And
They
what
weren't
point
even
was
cornrows.
that?
They
That
were
I
like
shouldn't
me
be doing
trying to
this?
braid my hair really tight.
Oh, they weren't even
I was
cornrows.
trying to be like an intellectual comic and like explain my
With
way out of
cornrows
it.
on your head?
Yeah.
Okay. In front of an all-black audience.
I mean,
This was your
they didn't
first
kill
stand-up
me,
experience?
so- Yeah, I really went for it. I wanted to leave a mark.
Yeah, I remember that for sure. If it happened to
How
me.
about you, your first experience?
Like on stage or doing stand-up?
Stand-up.
Well, the first time I actually ever did it was because for the same reason that I almost do everything, is I was jealous that a friend had started doing stand-up comedy, and I didn't want them to be the one friend in the group that was a comedian. So I decided I was going to do it. All my friends were like, okay, if you're going to do it, we want to go watch you. So we all went to a bar that had an open mic that my friend was going to. They performed, and I performed after them. And it went really well, but I knew at the time, since they were my friends, there was like no reason for me not to do bad. You know what I mean? Like, of course they're going to laugh. They're my friends. So it wasn't until after that I really got to figure out if I was funny or not.
Cool. The show here tonight starts at 7 o'clock. We are at 6:36, so we're going to bring some. We just flipped it over.
No, that, okay.
We're going to bring some more folks onto the. There we go. Again, just let everybody know your name. And
Ericson
your
Just.
website.
You can find me on justericson.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
for talking
dude.
to me.
No, yeah, here, dude.
And we'll talk about having you on my regular podcast at some point. Hi, sir. How's it going? I have somebody else over there looking at us. Come on over. Have a seat. How you doing, man?
Good to see you.
And I only know the names. Which one are you?
I am Kyle.
Kyle. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, how's
I'll
it
let you
going?
hold on to my
Oh,
voice
great,
case.
okay.
Kyle is another one of the comments here tonight. So remember,
How's it going?
if you're in the area, we're off of 8831 Venice Boulevard in Los Angeles, California.
Culver
Come check
City.
us out here in Culver City. It's the Beit T'Shuvah. Today is a funny thing happened on my way to rehab. And Kyle, how did you get involved in all this?
I know Cameron just from doing some shows a while back, and he just reached out to me, and it sounded like a good cause, so I was all for it.
And for the folks out there, how long you been in stand-up, and how was your start?
I'm about 3.5 years in at this point, and I started because just a bunch of my friends that I grew up with that we like would make jokes together all the time. They started doing stand-up, and I was like, well, if they're doing it, I think I could do it. And so that's basically just peer pressure. Just
People sometimes.
so some of it could be a good thing. It's not always negative. Yeah.
When it doesn't involve sex, drugs,
Right.
or stealing a car.
It doesn't always lead to rehab.
It has a
Yeah.
good consequence. Yeah, all mine led me to rehab. So,
That's okay.
a
That's
little
okay.
jail and a couple of free visits to the clinic.
You got a good story out of it, though. I'm
How
sure.
was your first time on stage as stand-up?
You know, actually, it was pretty good because a lot of my friends came out to support me, and
There's another key. Pay
yeah.
your friends to cut
yeah,
the-
pay them. Don't even ask them. Give them money. Which was cool at the time because I did really well, or at least I thought I did. And then I just realized after that, every time after that first time for like 2 months was terrible. And I just realized my friends were just being really nice. Like they were just laughing and being very supportive, which was great. But it was kind of misleading.
So for the friends out there, be honest.
Yeah.
It might hurt.
Even if they pay you money, don't. Being honest is better.
It's some kind of business policy. Did you have a hard time finding your niche, finding out who you were?
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I think honestly, still, finding the perspective. I mean, I'm definitely a lot more narrowed down than when I first started. But I think a lot of it has to do with just getting the reps and experience. But also just like learning more about yourself is super important because it's like learning like how you appear to an audience and then like your life, the stories that you've had. Just like focusing in on that lens, so it makes you different and stuff. It's a whole process. Like only like half of it's just about being on stage.
Because that's another reality. Who we think we are,
Right.
and how we think people perceived us is sometimes like 100%.
Totally different. Totally
Right?
different. Yes.
Because I
Absolutely.
thought I was going to be that like word of wisdom stand up. Like
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
And I fumbled on some of my jokes. And I confess, I'm like, you know what? I just forgot. So let's go in this direction.
Yeah.
And people just cracked up laughing. And then they came up to me afterwards and go, "Oh, that playing dumb thing was cute."
And you're like,
And I'm like, I was not.
I was
playing.
just on survival mode. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
So where can people find you, and where will you be next?
You can find me online. My handle for Instagram is @RehlTalk. My name's Rehl. It's just confusing. And I host 2 monthly shows in Atwater Village. So if you're in the Silver Lake or Glendale area, you can find me there. It's Vino Underground and Into the Void at Eno Vino.
Awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you so much,
Good luck
man.
tonight. We'll
You
see
too,
out
man.
there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We're going to see who else can come up. I just saw somebody I know. Hey, sir, come on over here. You guys, for those of you that follow me, know that I was over at the Ice House a couple of weeks ago. And have you showered since then?
No, not since
No,
that
no,
time, but now
no.
I'm just doing my hair and you're
Yes,
people watching this?
yes, people are watching this live.
So I'm gonna behave. All right.
So no, why? But nobody else has.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So for those of you, I'm gonna let you hold the microphone. My
Okay,
voice
cool.
carries.
All right.
For those of you that remember the Ice House presentation, Cooper Daniels was there. You saw the pictures on my page.
Yeah.
He was the handsome guy at the very end.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
I was.
That's why I
That,
said
that night I looked better.
It was that night.
But you, at least you've drawn attention to this. Okay.
Yeah,
What's going
I
on?
wasn't going to, but
Yeah, but now it's here.
good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man.
Now I feel like I know you better. Like 2 shows.
Yeah, I know. We keep 2 weekends in a row.
How did you feel that night?
It was good. It was exciting. It was a good crowd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
I
a lot of
felt
fun.
good.
Yeah.
It was my first time on a big stage like that.
Yeah, that was one of the bigger ones for me too. Yeah, it was my first time on the main stage at the Ice House for sure. Yeah.
So for those of you, again, who have been following us, or following me, know that I did the Cool Beans comedy, Cool Beans U classes last year. And
I was just wondering what that said. I was like,
hi to both. Oh, hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Tony's a big singer friend of mine. Follower.
cool.
So for those of you who know that I took the Cool Beans U comic classes, so did Cooper. And then last weekend, last Sunday, they had an alumni show, cream of the crop, we were calling it. And Cooper was the closing comic, which is kind of cool.
That was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it meant anything, but it was cool to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
the last one on stage is the closer.
That's true.
He brings the house together, so that's kind of honor.
Yeah.
I feel very proud for you, even though I just met you.
Well, I appreciate that. That's cool. Thank you.
So tell the folks a little bit about yourself, when you started comedy,
Yeah.
and how your first time on stage was.
I started comedy last year, so I'm pretty new to it too. I did my first show in June of last year. I got sober. Like about 8 months before that, and I was actually at an AA meeting at the Comedy Store, and I told a story that had happened to me, and everybody was laughing, and I was sitting in that room being like, wow, this is kind of fun to, be in this room and making everybody laugh. So I kind of got this idea, and then not drinking, not smoking weed kind of made me follow through a little bit more. I used to get a lot of ideas and never follow through, but since I had a little more reservoir of energy, I actually had the idea and followed through on it. So I did that. I took a little class before Cool Beans, and my first show, I felt like I was going to die, to be honest, and I survived. So
Good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this conversation would
This would be a weird
very
conversation.
awkward.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Because I've asked the other comics, have you found your niche? Did you know who you are as a comic?
I don't know. I know that I'm starting with myself. So I'm basically just taking myself down a peg, trying to joke about that, I have kids, so just kind of joking about my family and, but I have a long ways to go, I think. Yeah.
Now, do you find it, this is going to be more of a personal question because we're both in recovery.
Yeah.
Finding the funny in recovery and putting that on stage, is that working for you?
Oh, yeah. That's fun. I relapsed, actually. So just even navigating that personally and then having an outlet where I get a high, to be honest, like that feeling of dread and then kind of transcending that dread and then having a good time, it kind of gives you a kick, right? I'm sure you've experienced something like that. So that's fun. But yes, it's fun to poke fun at being sober and the things that you hear and you do and how you're trying to be better and you come up short and, yeah.
Well, I think that some of the best stories that I have are during my drug and alcohol career.
Yeah.
I did it for 16 years. There's a lot of waking up, I don't know where stories, and those are when I was able to make fun of those is when other people had the permission to make fun of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like relationships. If you don't laugh at your own relationships, then other people don't feel comfortable laughing with you. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I have to, look, I've done a bunch of crazy things, and I can laugh at it all. I think that there's a lot of things out there that in my life that I probably could make fun of, that I'm not there yet, but I'll get there.
But you're funny, and the stuff about your kids is hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
So that's always fun.
Yeah.
Plus, you do talk a lot about your relationship. I'm not going to tell you what he says because you have to go watch him. Did you post your shows? Your video?
I haven't actually yet, but I downloaded it before I came here. So.
Okay, good. So once they come up online, I'll post everybody's episodes or clips on there. You'll see him. It was hilarious. Where can people find you to follow you?
You could Coop_Daniels at Instagram, and Cooper Daniels wherever you find that. It's usually me.
Well, thank you for chatting with me.
Yeah, cool.
Regulate.
All right, thanks, man.
So there you go, guys. We'll see if we can get another one of the comics here. You ready? I'm going down the list. Which one are you?
Sure. I'm not on your
You're not on my list. Okay.
Not on your list.
All right. So we're going to introduce somebody that I don't have on my list. How you doing?
I'm good. Kirk
Good.
Bogos.
Kirk Bogos. How you doing, sir?
Morgan, how you doing?
Daniel Garza. Welcome to
I'm sorry. Daniel. Okay.
Welcome to Put It Together podcast. We're going live tonight.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So these are folks that have been following me for a while.
Yeah.
And every time we get a chance, we do a live feed somewhere.
Awesome. That's cool.
So tell folks, how long have you been doing stand-up? And
I've been
how
doing
you
stand-up
started?
now 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 18 years. I'm from Cleveland. I'm not from L.A.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome. I love Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a great place.
My
Great
first
place.
street hot dog was in Cleveland.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
Yes.
Why were you in Cleveland?
One of my old roommates worked for Continental. I'm dating myself.
Okay, well, yeah, that's right. That's
And-
where they had a big hub in.
Yeah, so we would fly to Cleveland just for the weekend.
Yeah, it's cool.
And he took me down walking, and he's like, "Have you ever had a street dog?" I'm like, "No, I've dated a lot of street dogs, but never ate one." Well, never mind.
Double entendre.
And that was my first chance. I love Cleveland.
It's a great city. It's a great city. Yeah.
So how did you get started?
You know what? How did I get started? Oh my God. A friend of mine was telling me she was a cook, Italian cook, but she was doing something else. She was in advertising, but she'd always wanted to be a cook, and so it just got me thinking what it was something I've always wanted to do. And I was working. I was in radio broadcast sales for a long time, but then. I'd always wanted to do comedy, but I didn't. How do you get started? Where do you sign up? You know. So in Cleveland, there was a show that was on cable. One of the first cable shows ever on was called that highlighted stand-up comedians. Was called A&E at the Improv. It was on years ago when cable just came on the air.
Wow.
And the guy that Bud Friedman, who owned all the improvs at one time, highlighted all of his comedians on this show. And the guy that produced that show lives in Cleveland. A guy named Dave Schwensen. And Dave did a 3-week comedy showcase, a comedy workshop at the Improv. And I found out about it, and I took it, and I never looked back. You know, that was...
How do you remember your first time on stage?
Absolutely.
How was that?
It was frightening. It was frightening. It was exhilarating. It was. I remember I did 5 minutes. It was, and I sometimes I'll go back and look at that. I have it on.
Really?
I had it on. It was done on VHS, and then I had it converted to a CD, and then I have it on an MP3 on my computer. So I'll watch it every once in a while. But it was. By my standards now, it was terrible. But it was fun. It was exhilarating. It was scary, and it was, and it caused me to. I never wanted to do anything else, and I've been doing this now. I've been doing it full time now for about 8 years.
And of course we just met, so I don't know your comedy. But
Sure.
Did you find a niche? Did you find your space? And how did you go about it?
Well, you know, if you look around the room, I mean, I'm clearly the oldest guy here.
No way.
So that puts me in a totally different niche than most of the other comics that I work with. So being an older comic, and having the opportunity, I've done some tours and I've worked with a lot of older comics, Ron White and Kathleen Madigan and people that are older. So so I grew up in the '60s. I'm sort of a burnout stoner, which really isn't a stretch for me. And it's just, you know, my life, just things that, you know, happen in my life. And for me, again, being an older comedian, it makes it a little easier for me to connect with older audiences that I find. Because sometimes, not that these guys aren't good, because they're all really good comedians. Sometimes it's difficult for an audience to connect with a younger comedian. There's an automatic connection there.
There is a ha-ha connection when we do do you remember?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, when I have, there's an audience, like I'm assuming that this audience tonight will be 35 plus, 30 plus, I'm guessing. And when you're my age and you can talk about, having to get up in the middle of the night and pee, you know, 2 or 3 times. Well, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that half the guys in the audience are going to be able to identify with this. These guys don't know what I'm talking about.
They have no clue.
They have no clue what I'm talking about.
I'm 48, so I get it.
Yeah, so I mean,
all of your kids.
You know, and I've been married 4 times now. So that's the whole part of my comedy into itself. And
so, being the one that has a longer career here, what words of wisdom would you give somebody who wants to start?
Well, these guys are already obviously these guys are already doing it. So, but you know, probably
for the folks out there,
probably the thing that is find your niche, be true to yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not. You know, if you're a skinny white Latino comedian, be a skinny white or a skinny Latino comedian. If
Are
you're
you calling me skinny?
No.
That's good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you're a fat
You
old,
heard it here. He called me skinny, so we're going to take it.
if you're an old fat Jewish guy, then be an old fat Jewish guy that grew up in the '60s. Be true to yourself. That's the best thing to do, and just don't take any shortcuts. I mean, I'm sure these guys do too. I spend a lot of time writing. I try to set aside time every day to write and try new material, and I work as hard as I can. I work unfortunately, I'm booked between now and the end of June, so that keeps me really busy. I don't get out here much. I mean, the furthest west I'm coming, I'll be at the Comedy Vault in Albuquerque in July, and then I'll be at Laughs Tucson in August. That's about as far west as I've.
And webpage or somewhere where they can find you?
KirkBogos.com, Bogos, and got a website and a webpage, and I do a lot. And the funny thing is and I love these. I mean, I do a lot of comedy clubs, but I also love doing like moose lodges. Like about 3 weeks ago, I was in Monroe, Michigan, and I did the Monroe, Michigan Elks Club.
Nice.
I mean, it paid well, but there were like 300 people there, and by the time I got up to do my thing, it was 9 o'clock. They were just having a ball. It was, I walked out of there, I had so much fun. Those audiences are just incredible. Sometimes they're more fun than doing a comedy club. But, so it's the variety, it's the variety of doing all the different kind of
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, different kind of venues. I love them.
Break a leg out there. Thank you so much for
coming,
joining us.
Okay, cool.
Have a good night. We'll be out there. Unfortunately, we won't be able to tape the show, but I think again, this is Daniel Garza. Let me move over here. This is Daniel Garza with Put It Together Podcast, bringing you live feed from the funny thing happened on the way to Rehab here at 8831 Venice Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, at the Beit T'Shuvah Center.